teaching social sciences with higher order thinking. Good morning, everyone. Today, we're going to explore a beautiful, deep, as well as transformative approach to teaching social sciences. Imagine a classroom where students do not just memorize facts, but they think like detectives. They think like creators as well as analysts. This is the world of higher order thinking. And you, as future teachers, as future educators, are the gatekeepers to this exciting world. So we have to understand higher order thinking. Let's begin with the foundation. What is higher order thinking or HOTS? It simply means going beyond memorization. Instead of just asking, what happened in 1857? A teacher may ask, why did it happen? Or what could have been done differently? And how does it still affect us today? We look at high order thinking through three lenses. What are these three lenses? These are critical thinking, creative thinking, as well as analytical thinking. So, what is critical thinking? It is questioning what we see and what we hear. It is what? It is questioning what we see and what we hear. And what is creative thinking? It is imagining new ideas. And analytical thinking, it is breaking things down and seeing how they fit together. It is what? It is breaking things down and seeing how they fit together. Let me give you a simple example. Suppose we're teaching about Mahatma Gandhi. A low order question would be, when was Mahatma Gandhi born? But a higher order question would be, why did Gandhi choose nonviolence as a method? Could he have chosen another path? Now that's powerful learning. So next we go to critical thinking in social sciences. Critical thinking is like being a social scientist. What is it? It is like being a social scientist. We train students to not just accept information, but to interrogate it. We train students to do what? To not just accept information, but also to interrogate what information we receive. So we can do this in four ways. The first one is through Socratic questioning. So we have to ask questions like, what do you mean? Or why do you think that happened? This creates a reflection, isn't that? In fact, there are students who confidently said the British helped develop India. So, for this, what we must ask, in what way and for whom was India developed by the British? So, that will change everything, isn't it? Then, secondly, we also have to analyze the source in critical thinking. We have to teach students to ask, who wrote this? And why did that particular person write this particular phenomena? What bias might be hidden here or in that particular thing that a person has written? Then, thirdly, we have to encourage debates as well as discussions. So, here, as teachers or as future educators, you can't divide the class into groups and let the students debate. Say, for instance, was the Mughal rule more progressive than the British? In this way, students will not only engage deeply, but they will learn to respect also multiple opinions. Then critical thinking can also be encouraged through case studies. So here we have to use real life events. For instance, we have to look at a recent protest and ask what were the causes of that particular protest? Who were the stakeholders? What was the outcome of that protest? Remember, a questioning mind is a learning mind. Then we go to the next, and that is creative thinking in social sciences. Creativity is not only for artists, even historians need creativity. Here's how we bring it into the social sciences classroom. The first is through role play and dramatization. Let students become Bhagat Singh or Queen Lakshmi Bai. When they act, when they do the role play, they will have the feelings. They will feel what they are doing. They will also understand. A teacher made students reenact a village panchayat meeting. You know what? The students felt the power and limitations of democracy. That's unforgettable learning. Then, secondly, there must also be alternative perspectives. So, here we have to ask students to write a diary entry from the view of a British soldier in 1857 and then form an Indian rebel. So, this will build empathy and depth. Critical thinking, we must also involve mind mapping. We will have to use diagrams to show how events connect, how the French Revolution inspired the Indian freedom movement, or how caste and class still affects policies even today. Then in creative thinking, we must also have project-based learning. So here what do? We give students big questions like what would India be like today if colonization had never happened? So in this way, students will research and then present their findings. So it is fun and at the same time insightful. Then we also have analytical thinking in social sciences. So analysis is about breaking big ideas into parts. So let's say we're studying partition. Here's how we teach it analytically. In the first place, we have problem based learning. So, what we have to do here, we have to present the problem. Why did partition happen? What could have prevented partition? Let students dig into causes, political, social, as well as the economic causes. Then we have comparative analysis. So here we have to compare the French Revolution as well as the Indian independence movement. What was similar and what was different? So in this way, students will understand better. Then we have data interpretation. So here we can show a map of India before and after 1947. So we can let the students see the migration. We'll have to use statistics. How many people moved and how many people lost their lives. Then we have the cause and effect. So here we have to let students make timelines. Ask them what event led to what. If we understand the why, we can also understand the how. Then it is here where we are creating higher order thinking skills friendly classroom. So how do you as future teachers or as future educators make your classroom a place where HOTS or higher order thinking skills lives? In the first place, you will have to encourage inquiry. Say yes to questions. Let students ask. Even the silly question does not matter. But you have to give opportunity. You have to encourage the students to inquire. Then, secondly, also allow Mistakes. Mistakes are not failure. Remember, they're what? They're feedback. If a student says, Ashoka ruled in 1500 AD, don't laugh. Ask, why do you think that? And guide them back. Then, thirdly, use varied modalities. Do not just lecture, use posters, podcasts, field trips, as well as stories. Then the fourth one is to bridge theory and practice. So if you're teaching about voting, take the students to observe a local election, link textbook to real life experience. Then we also have the assessment techniques for high order thinking. A hot classroom needs HOTS assessment. A high order thinking classroom needs high order thinking assessment. The first one is essay questions. Ask things like, was Gandhiji's method more effective than Subhash Chandra Bose? This will build reasoning skills in the students. Then the second hot assessment is portfolio assessment. So in this assessment, let students collect their own work, be it project, be it drawings, be it reflection. This will show their journey. Then we also have peer reviews. So here, students, you will have to ask them to review each other's answer. So this will teach them critical eye as well as respect. So assessment is not just to test, it is to reflect, to grow, and to improve. Then we also have the benefits of higher order thinking. So what are the benefits of higher order thinking? In critical thinking, what does it helps us? It develops, informs us also questioning citizens. It helps us to question why things takes place, why it is like this, and what happened if it is not. Then in creative thinking, it helps us to foster innovation as well as help us to find alternative solution. So we must be creative. This is one of the benefit of high order thinking. And in analytical thinking, high order thinking enhances understanding of complex issues. As teachers, we have to move beyond textbook. We have to engage students as well as make learning interactive and thought provoking. We have to connect to real life. We have to relate concepts to current events and experience. Now, if the students only learn from the text and does not have anything to connect to real life, what education are we propagating? That is where we have to connect to real life. So when we connect to real life, students understands better. Then we also have to foster responsibility, which means that we have to prepare students as proactive citizens. So dear future teachers, teaching is not just about content. It's about awakening curiosity. It's about awakening creativity as well as awakening consciousness in the students. If you teach students what to think, they'll remember for a test. If you teach them how to think, they'll remember for life. One of my favorite lines from Sandip Maheshwari is, a teacher does not just teach a syllabus, they begin a journey in every students. What does a teacher do? A teacher begin a journey in every students. Let that be you. Thank you. And go light up the world, one HOTS filled classroom at a time.